time, Orlando Wall here, back with another video. Man, today we're going to talk about learning to draw the ball. Learning to draw the ball. Now, I heard it said a long time ago that you draw for show and you follow for dough. And I agree with that for the most part. If you can accomplish the goal by using follow, it's a much better approach because you're not fighting against the forward momentum of the ball, trying to make the cue ball do something unnatural. However, there are times in the game that show up where trying to follow the ball is going to be incredibly difficult. And not being able to get shape on the ball, you might as well play safety rather than pocket a ball at all. So right now I'm going to talk about an example of that. And then I'm going to show you how to draw the ball. So here's an example. We're playing 9-ball. Other guy missed. The other guy missed, and I'm ending up, straight in on the 8-ball. 9-ball's at the other end. Or maybe I tried to get myself to this side of the 8 or this side of the 8 so I had an angle and I could get back up table for the 9-ball. But if you play pool, you realize that it doesn't always shape up the way you intended for it to shape up. So here's a situation where you'll need to draw this ball. So I line up on this ball, level, cue, put myself in a position where now I got a shot at making this 9-ball. But had I not been able to draw the ball back down to this end of the table, I may not have been able to pull that off. So I want to talk with you about what I call SPLL. I say it one more time, SPLL. Now, SPLL stands for speed, precision, low, and level. So I'll say that again, speed, precision, low, and level. For this next part, I want to show you something to help illustrate the point. It's going to be low tech, but it will, I think, get the point home. Okay, so here what I have is a really high-tech piece of equipment. Let me grab my handy-dandy pointer here. So, I want you to imagine that this is the cue ball. There we go. The black circle in the middle is the cue ball. And I realize it's not perfectly circular, but just bear with me for a second. I think you'll get it. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm going to go backwards. I want to talk about low and level first. To draw the ball, you have to hit the ball below center. So if this is the center of the cue ball, you have to make sure that you hit with the tip of your cue, that you hit below the center of the ball. Now, the reason why low and level go hand in hand is because if you hit below center right here, let's say this is your contact point. If your pool cue is level as it approaches that point on the cue ball, the amount of cue ball that you're going to be hitting through looks kind of like this. If the cue is elevated, like most of the time people think when they have to draw the ball, they jack up on the ball thinking that's going to somehow help with the draw stroke. But consider this, if you hit that exact same spot on the cue ball with your cue elevated like this, the reality is that you are going to hit through this ball like this. Or worse. If I'm at this angle, that's what I get. If I go up higher than that, I'm going to get even less of the cue ball. So your goal is to get the tip of the cue as low on that ball as possible, but still keep the butt of the cue as level as possible. Because if you're trying to keep the cue level, then how low you can hit on this ball is considerably more. Well, I wouldn't hit that low, but let's say there. And then with a level cue, you may get through that ball like that. So, low and level. I say low and level, that means low on the cue ball, but as level as possible within reason. So now listen, I know that you cannot keep the cue completely level because the rail is here. And so in order for your cue to be completely level when you hit below center, your cue would have to be down on the table. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as level as possible within reason and not getting the butt of the cue up so that you're hitting down, and only getting a sliver of the ball. So that's low and level. Now, let's go back and talk about S&P, speed. A lot of times people are afraid to hit the draw stroke with any kind of speed because they're afraid to miscue. What I mean is you'll see something kind of like this. Person goes to hit the ball to draw it, and their butt is up, and the thing jumps a little bit like that. Haven't done it that way in so long, it's hard to do it. There, like that, like a person trying to jump the ball who doesn't know how to jump it. But if you hit that same shot, very low, you hit it very low, hit the ball very low, but you hit it with your cue as level as possible, instead of jumping that ball, you're going to draw that ball back easily. And so speed is important because you have to consider what's happening with the cue ball. The cue ball is going forward and it's rotating backwards with enough, you have to be rotating backwards with enough spin that when it gets to the object ball, it's still spinning backwards. It hits the object ball, the cue ball and the object ball are similar weight. It hits the object ball and it stops, and then that backward spin is what draws it back. There are exceptions to hitting the draw stroke a little faster. Like when you're close to the object ball, you can do a really short little draw stroke like that, a little tiny draw stroke. But for the most part, you can't be afraid to put a little bit of speed on the draw stroke. And to make sure that you're not afraid to put speed on the draw stroke, you have to make sure that your cue is low and level. So you're thinking, okay, speed, low, and level. Where does the P come in? The P is for precision. When you look at a cue ball, if you're looking at a cue ball, your strikeable surface on this cue ball, when you're in the middle, I mean, you can hit anywhere inside of there without much fear of miscuing, right? But the lower you get on the ball, the lower you get on the ball, the smaller you have horizontally to kind of go off path. And you have to be a lot more precise towards the middle of the ball when you start going low, because the area that you have to work inside of is smaller. It's not like when you're in the center of the ball and you have this gigantic rectangle that you could hit inside of. Now, I don't recommend being that loose with your tip placement, but you understand what I'm saying. You're not going to miscue. You might miss a ball, but you won't miscue. But when you start getting lower on the cue ball, the space that you have to deviate right and left without miscuing gets so much smaller. So we want to concentrate on hitting lower, hitting level, but we want to be precise. And we got to be willing to hit the ball with enough pace to cause it to draw back. So now, I want to conclude by saying, I don't believe that you should draw the ball when you could follow the ball. But in an simple instance like this, you can shoot that 12 ball up the table. You can shoot it up the table. You can cut it up the table, come to this rail with top, and come back to this side so you have a shot at the 8 ball. Or if you just know how to draw the ball, you can get a little low, you can keep your cue as level as possible, and you can just hit that ball. End up with an easier shot, and you move the cue ball a shorter distance. So, man, that's a tutorial on drawing the ball. SPLL. You're going to have to hit it with a little speed. You're going to have to concentrate. Don't let that tip of yours go wobbling all over the place. Keep a precise point of contact on that ball, and keep the tip low and level as possible within reason. I'm not talking about it has to be this level. It doesn't have to be level as the table, but as level as possible so that when you approach the cue ball, you get as much of the cue ball as possible and not just a sliver or an edge of the cue ball that's going to cause you to miscue or jump the ball off the table. All right, that was a tutorial on drawing the ball. I hope you found it useful. If you like it, man, please make sure to like it. Perhaps even share it so somebody else can check it out and like it. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, because that will encourage me to continue to make videos like this one. All right, thanks for tuning in to Table Time. See you next time.